All right, guys. Injuries. Quan Alexander's out. Marcel Harris is questionable. Dante Johnson is out. Mosley is questionable, and Jeff Wilson's questionable. Go ahead.
Kyle, in terms of Jimmy Garoppolo, what did you see from him in practice this week? Either on the field, in meeting rooms, in the locker room, that gives you confidence that he's got a bounce back game in him.
Because he looked healthy, had a good week of practice, and he's played a lot of football before.
Hey Kyle, with Quan, what is his status in terms of, you said you wanted to see the severity of the ankle? Is injured reserve a possibility for him, or where does that stand?
We don't think so right now. I never like to say minor high ankle sprain because high ankle sprains are always a big issue, but it wasn't your typical one where they for sure go on IR. So that's why we haven't put him on that yet, and we're hoping to keep him off.
Did Mosley practice in full today, and if so, why is he listed as questionable?
Just how the percussion protocol goes. There's one more step I think that's got to be cleared, and hopefully that'll be done by tomorrow. And as long as it is, he'll be starting out there on Sunday.
Kyle, George talked about wanting to be a better team captain. He spoke to Joe Staley, who he said was kind of a prick sometimes. Do you feel like you're missing that kind of asshole element to your locker room?
Nice. I like how you swore. I'm always nervous to do that. I don't think so. I mean, I don't want guys to learn how to be that word that you said. I want people to be themselves. If they feel like being that way and it's natural, go ahead and be that way. I think George is a hell of a captain. He does it a great way. Staley was a hell of a captain and does it a great way. So, I mean, I appreciate George trying to do everything he can to get better. But I just want George to be himself, and don't try to be Staley. Be yourself.
Have you seen the news coming out of New England today about a couple positive tests that they have? And also, as a coach, how prepared are you to be nimble and when it comes to all the scheduling stuff that might have to come up if there are cases, whether it's with you guys or somewhere else throughout the league?
I mean, I feel like I'm always prepared to adapt to whatever the situation is. I'm not going to sit here and say we're preparing every day for what's going to happen that we have no idea. We're prepared that we're going to eventually have to adjust, and I mean, there's not a lot of options to it. I mean, when you have to shut down, you shut down, and then you figure out when you can come back, and you see the time that you have to come back to get ready for a game, and it doesn't sound like that's ever something that's going to be set in stone either. So that's kind of how we prepared coming into this year, that you're going to have to be able to adapt to a lot of situations you're not sure about, and I think that's the main thing you're ready for. Don't freak out and get overwhelmed with it. Expect it to happen. It's a matter of time before it does happen, and when it does, embrace it and do it the best you can.
Hey, Kyle, a couple of guys, I think after the game, Jimmy and Fred mentioned just kind of finding your identity as a team. I know last year the identity kind of fed off. You had a destructive defensive line, and obviously that may not be the case for the rest of this season. I don't know, do you understand what they're saying? And, I mean, obviously every time you have the ball, you want to score a touchdown, but does the offense maybe have to take over some of that identity and lead the team?
I mean, I think you play football as good as you can, and whatever you end up doing consistently ends up being in your identity. So I'm not going to say which way it has to go. I think everyone's got to play the best they can. I got to coach the best I can, and I haven't seen that yet. So that's what we're still trying to do. And I think our identity last year just started out by starting out 8-0. I mean, in our first game, it wasn't exactly that way. Our second game, it was good on both sides for Cincinnati in a blowout. You started to build up just 1 week at a time, and eventually we look up and we're undefeated. And I think our identity came through that and being just extremely confident that we can handle whatever. And I think we did that throughout the year. I think we won games on defense, we won games on offense, we won it on special teams. We're trying to figure that out right now. When you have 2 wins and 3 losses, you're not exactly sure yet. We're trying to string together some things consistently, and when we do that, we'll find out what makes our team up the most. And but it's been a little here, a little there. But when we start playing all together, then we'll know what that identity is.
Kyle, do you have a sense at this point with the 3 guys who are on PUP Ronald Blair, Weston Richburg, and Julian Taylor, if you're going to be able to open the window for them next week to start practice?
No, I don't believe that's next week. I think that's coming around. Well, you're obviously probably going to quote me on this, but I might go back on it. I think it's between like weeks 10 and 12. There's more when we're looking into that.
Kyle, you said Emmanuel Mosley is likely to start if he's available. Where does that leave Jason Brett and Akella Witherspoon, given that Akella has usually been the field corner and Brett has usually been the boundary?
Brett's been our field corner since Sherm's been out, and that'll stay the same way. So I hope that Mosley gets cleared for tomorrow, and if not, I expect Keller to go out there and start.
Sorry, just to follow up on Matt's question about PUP, we all thought it was after week 6 that these guys could return to practice. Is that not the case?
No, it's not. I mean, they could, but they won't be healthy enough at that time.
Will CJ back up Jimmy on Sunday, or will it be Nick?
I'm going to decide that Sunday right before kickoff. So I'm not sure yet, but you'll see then.
Kyle, you finally had a week of all your offensive weapons on the field together. How did it go? How did it look?
It was good. I mean, just to get 3 days in a row of guys working, putting a lot of pressure on them, just making them work hard. These guys took a lot of reps, more reps this week than they probably had, probably this year combined. So I know it's tiring on them. It's going to be nice. We went pretty much half speed today. They'll get tomorrow to rest. A long day on Sunday before we kick off with the night game, and hopefully it'll help them out this week.
Given Jimmy's ankle injury, what are you looking for from him on Sunday? I guess how are you going to gauge whether he has a good game or not, based on the fact that he might not be at full strength?
I'm not thinking about the ankle, and I don't think he is going into the game. I mean, I think you try to get to a point where you're healthy enough to play, which a lot of guys are at, but a lot of guys have injuries they got to play through. That's the point of where you're at in that, and I think Jimmy's at a better spot this week than he was last week, so, I mean, I don't think about the ankle in that case. I expect him to go out and play well, and that's how I'll judge him.
Kyle, I'm sure you've been asked this 100 times, but I was just wondering if you had a story about Sean McVay when you guys were working together early on, when you were thinking, wow, this dude really gets it.
I could tell Sean, just from our first interview with him. Sean and I had a lot in common in terms of, I started out my career as quality control with John Gruden, and then when I left to go to Houston, Sean was the guy who came in and replaced me. So I knew exactly how he came up in his 2 years there. It was the same way I did. It was neat when I went to Washington to interview him. My dad and I were interviewing him, and he came in, and I knew exactly what he had been through those previous 2 years. And to watch how on it he was and all the stuff that he had done and being with John and stuff, it was great to get with him. And he ended up getting an opportunity to be a tight end coach, about, I think it was like week 12 that year, because our tight end coach, who's my tight end coach now, and John Embry, ended up leaving to be the head coach at CU. And Sean had done such a good job as a QC, and it happened late in the year, so we moved him in that role. And by the next year, he owned that role, and he got it for the whole year and did a great job for me the next 3 years. And you could tell right away it was a matter of time before he'd be a coordinator and a matter of time before he'd be a head coach. So I've always loved the relationship I have with Sean, the respect we have for each other. It would be a lot more fun for us if we weren't in the same division, because we love talking ball and we like hanging out, but that's a little more hampered when we're constantly competing against each other.
Kyle, update on 2 injured guys. Richard Sherman, how did those injections go for him this week? And also Ronald Blair, did he have a setback, or I think it was expected that he might be back practicing next week?
No, yeah, Ronald Blair did have a setback. Had to redo some things to his knees, some stuff that they messed up in it. And he is doing a lot better from that, but that's why he's going to be a couple weeks longer than expected. And Sherm got the injections and stuff, and I know now it's a matter of time of resting it, and you don't go out and see if they've worked yet. You let the injections do their course, and you see how it is, whether it's next week or the week after.
All right, thanks, folks.
All right, thanks, guys. See you later.